What's up, YouTube? It's me, Zach, again. I'm here to do another review. This time, it's not going to be on a knife. It's going to be on the Princeton Tech Remix. So, let's just kind of jump into things. This is my Princeton Tech Remix. I've had this thing for, I guess, a couple of months now. More exactly, I think, right around the 5 months. I've had it for about 5 months. And the actual headlamp itself is awesome. I originally got this headlamp to replace my older headlamp. I had an Energizer headlamp. It was just a real generic Energizer headlamp, and I want to say that it didn't really have a whole lot of power, and it was very simple headlamp. It was just on and off with a red light. It had different multiple options where you could just click down, and it had different options. Anyways, so the light began to kind of fall apart, and I had it for so long. I think I had it for 2 or 3 years, and I finally was just like, you know what? I think I deserve a new headlamp by now. And so I started doing research on headlamps, and I really wanted to get something that was going to be awesome. And out of all my research, I kept reading about Princeton Tech headlamps. Well, I never really had a Princeton Tech headlamp, and I never really knew anybody else that had a Princeton Tech headlamp. And so I decided to give it a go, and I kept hearing good things about the company and good things about their products, and so I did. I went ahead and I bought one, and so I decided on the Remix. And I'm kind of one of those kind of guys that I like everything to have multiple functions. And my headlamp, originally the older headlamp, I was using it on my bike when I would ride home from work. I would basically ride with a headlamp, and I wanted cars to be able to see me, and that one was just way underpowered. So I went ahead and I stepped up my game, and I got this Princeton Tech Remix. With I think it has, let's see, I think it's 125 lumens. Yeah, 125 lumens, and that is pretty freaking bright. I don't know if you've ever shined 125 lumens at your eyes by accident, but it'll definitely put the spots in your eyes. And this particular thing, I wanted it to be able to fit either on my helmet. I do a lot of outdoor climbing, and I wanted it to be able to fit on my climbing helmet, and on top of that, I wanted it to be able to fit on my head, and maybe be able to fit around, like a cap or whatever. And it really does. It does pretty much everything I want it to do. Princeton Tech actually sells different models where they have different setups for you can have green, red, or white. And then this is usually always white or red, and I think they may sell this in a green, but I know for sure that they have a white and a red LED on this one. But I'm pretty sure this one's usually always a white LED. But I think you can interchange them, which is another kind of cool factor about Princeton Tech that I really didn't know that they had that many options. And then they have different colored headbands. Mine kind of came with this really cool, cool headband. I guess if you really didn't like this thing, you could always reverse it and do the gray side up. And they're really easy to change off. They basically just pop off the tabs down here, and you slide the whole thing off. And I guess you could just flip it up if you didn't like having Princeton Tech on the side of your head. Or you can make your own band if you really wanted to, if you're that creative. But it works for me, and I don't really care about the color. It wasn't really a big option for me. I cared more about the LEDs. So I also do a lot of camping and hiking and everything, and when I'm, at night, I don't want to lose my night vision, so I got the one that has it's got the red LED version on the right hand side, and then the white light on the left hand side. And I've found that the red LED and the white LED are very bright, but they work really phenomenally well. The red LED obviously has a soft mode, and then it has a high red mode, which is a little bit higher. So it's got a low and a high, and then the white side has a high and a low as well. Try to do that. That's the high. And everything's controlled with this little button right here. It's not like you don't snap either one of the sides or anything to change it. You have to press and hold for it to change modes. And it's it works, but sometimes it's just really annoying to kind of click through these modes to get to what I want. I wish it was just like a right-click LED or red LED on or the right side LEDs, and then the left side the brighter LEDs. You know, they can click and click and click, or click on, click off. or click and hold, or whatever. I think they could have thought of this whole like button situation a little bit better. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, and it does really work. But this for what I needed and how much I was willing to pay, it really functions quite well for what it does. It does fit on my helmets really well, and it's really easy to adjust. It's got a very simple like hook and loop closure here, and it's already pre-tied, so you don't have to do much in setup other than slip it on the back, and that's it. And it came with 3 AAA batteries, and that's what it runs off of. And you basically access it by flipping this panel up. You pop that off, and it kind of swivels open, and then the batteries are basically just in there. So that's really nice, and it's really simple, and it's really lightweight. I think it weighs 83.83 grams, or 83 grams basically, and that's really lightweight. I mean, for me, that's really lightweight. It doesn't really feel like it weighs a lot, and I mean, especially when you're hauling a backpack around that's filled with books or whatever, or climbing gear, or camping equipment, or whatever. Weight is really where it comes into play, and you want to go as lightweight as possible to save your ounces. And the reason why I go with headlamps, I generally do take a backup light just in case my headlamp fails or runs out of battery, and usually I take extra batteries as well. So the reason why a headlamp, though, is my primary light is because I always like to use my hands. My hands usually need to be filled, and I feel like flashlights where you have to click them, and hold them, it just gets really annoying. So headlamps, I feel like, are a really great option for a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people don't exploit the fact that headlamps are that awesome. I know the military has recently gotten really, really big into headlamps, or using headlamps, or they have been really big into using headlamps. And I really honestly didn't understand the value of a headlamp until I got mine for the first time from my brother-in-law, and that was a long time ago, And I've had multiple headlamps since then, and so far this is the one that I really, truly, honestly like a lot more. The whole setup of the headlamp is really nice. I'll kind of explain a little bit about the LEDs. These LEDs in here, so you see that there are 3 LEDs, and then there's one main LED. These are the 5mm red LEDs, so they just glow red, and they all glow at the same time. So you can't just click individual ones. Usually, when you click on the button, all 3 of them light up, and that's pretty sweet. I mean, it's not a big deal, and the low setting is actually really nice, especially at night, because it saves your night vision. But the 5mm LEDs really, really work really awesome at night, and the bright level is very clear and defined. Then this thing's called the Max Bright. It's just the single LED, and it's Princeton Tech's I guess version of like a really super bright LED. And it's just one LED in there, and this single one LED puts out I think that's where the 125 lumens come from. And it goes pretty far. I want to say it goes like quite a bit. I think it's like, it may be more than 100 meters or something like that. It's right around that mark. It's pretty far. And I mean, really, I honestly, when I use this at night, it lights up the whole area, and I really don't have to worry about it. Especially when I'm riding my bike, I can see very clearly and see everything in the road. And I like to have it on my head because I like to be able to look around, and blind people that are trying to hit me with their cars. But really, I really feel like this headlamp really works really well for me. The brightness levels, so this thing is supposed to operate for 200 hours, but I think that's on the lowest red setting. So the lowest red setting, which you're seeing here, is 200 hours. It's supposed to last your battery 200 hours. But then the next level up, this is supposed to last around 61 hours on the high red LED, 5mm red LEDs. And then if you were to switch over to the low Max Bright, I think you get 53 hours worth of battery life. And then if you go to the high, I think it's something like 28 hours. I think it's 28 hours on the high version of the LED. Yeah, it's 28 28 hours, which is, decent. But I mean, you really don't need, I've never really had the need to really push this bright level up to the next highest level, other than like showing it off or needing to see for temporary short amount of time. I mostly use the red LED or the single white LED for most of my tasks. And I mean, I really haven't had to change the battery out in this, and I've had it for, I've had it for almost 4 or 5 months, and really, I mean, I use it almost every single day when I'm riding my bike, or when I'm doing tasks, even around the house. If I have to get back in the closet and I can't see back there, or if I'm trying to work on something really close and I need more light because my apartment doesn't have the greatest lighting ever. I usually put on my headlamp, and it's just like my go-to. It's my go-to thing. It even sits, next to me at night. So if something happens in the middle of the night, I just slip on my headlamp, and I'm hands-free to do whatever, combat evil or whatever. So that's one of those things that you got to really think about is the headlamp good for you? Does it work for you? The simplicity of the headlamp for me works, and the fact that you can just slip it on your head and you don't have to worry about anything is one of those things that I feel like a lot of people don't really think about. But maybe it's something you should start considering, just because your primary flashlight is great. If you want to carry one of those handheld ones, that's great too. I just find that I usually always need my hands when I'm working at night, and I have to have a flashlight on. So usually I'm doing something, and that's just one of those applications. But the Princeton Tech Remix, I have had no problems with it. The only other thing that I have to talk about is on Princeton Tech's website, it says that it's waterproof, and it's a level 1 waterproofing. I didn't really understand what that means, so I kind of did a little bit of research and digging. And what I found out was the level one dunk. A level 1 of waterproofing basically means that you can dunk or submerge the headlamp for a very limited amount of time. I think it's like something like 10 seconds. That sounds really weird, but I didn't know this until after I got it. But basically, because I didn't think about it, but basically you can only dunk this thing in the water for 10 seconds before it malfunctions, maybe, or if it shuts down. Princeton Tech on their website doesn't say anything about, it does say like, oh, if that happens, take the batteries out and let the whole system dry, but it doesn't say anything about, how long is too long, and, that would be something I would kind of want to know. And I guess my real question is, why wouldn't they just go ahead and waterproof the entire thing and make it totally submergible? If watches, like cheap Casio watches that you can find at like Target or Walmart, if you can submerge those in 3 meters of water or 9 feet or 10 feet worth of water, why wouldn't you be able to take a headlamp that low? I mean, not that you would want to, but just in case you had to, like you had to jump off a boat, or if you had to, if you were in a cave and you needed to dunk your head underwater, swim to the next cavern. Like, if you have this headlamp's going to fail on you. I mean, I guess they have better headlamps out there that are more expensive, and I understand that this is only like a $30 headlamp. I paid $32, I think, on Amazon for this headlamp, but it's just one of those things. It's kind of like, why don't they just go ahead and make it waterproof all the way around? Why would they only have a level 1? And I have a feeling that they're just trying to save themselves by saying, oh, it's only a level 1, so you don't want to push the product over its limits. But I feel like its limits are a lot higher than probably that level 1. Obviously, I'm not going to try to push it, but I guess time will tell. I have ridden in the rain with this headlamp on, and been in like wet environments or where it was raining. I have yet to swim with it on or anything, but I have a feeling that it would be fine. I have ridden in the rain, and I didn't have any issues with this turning it on or off. No malfunctions or it shorted out or anything. So that's one of those things you got to just think about, I guess, when you're buying your headlamps. If you want something a little bit more hardcore, maybe the Remix isn't your cup of tea. Another great thing I like about it though is the angle. You can angle it. So you can angle the entire light up and down, which is really nice. It's pretty much at any angle you want, and I've actually found it makes a really great reading headlamp at night when you're in your tent. You slip this thing on your head, and you turn it on and you point it up, and it illuminates the entire inside of your tent, and you can actually read a book very clearly, and it doesn't really get in the way, or at least that's what I've found. Or I can put it on the low setting of the red, and it won't bother the person who's either sleeping next to me or whatever in a tent situation. So that's kind of nice, that it's bright enough that you can see, but it's not so bright that it disturbs everybody else around you. Yeah, and another reason why I was originally going to get a headlamp that actually had a battery pack that ran along the back, but I actually started thinking about it, and I use my headlamp a lot when I'm camping, and when I'm camping, I like to lay down, and if you have a battery pack, or if you have one of those that have like a battery pack on the back, when you lay down at night, you usually have your headlamp on and usually slip it off or whatever. But if you had to lay down and read with it, that battery pack on the back of the thing is definitely going to make it very uncomfortable to lay down. So you definitely want to get something with a really nice strap that's like soft and has like flat parts. So when you lay down, you're not bothered by it. And if you need to, you can even keep it on your head if you had to get out for emergency purpose. It's not going to really hinder all the movement. And it's tight enough that the stretchiness of it is tight enough that it's comfortable, and it won't it won't wear away at your head. It won't give you like abrasions. My old headlamp actually had some really disgusting, it had this like grippy pad on the back, but it started wearing away because I sweated so much when I was wearing it. It's really nice that the Princeton Tech doesn't have that. It's just like a plastic backing that you slip on, and then this is basically like the pad that you use against your head, and it's so comfortable. But it's nice because this almost functions as like a sweatband. So it can collect your sweat. And the reason why I think they made it so easy to pop off is so you could just wash it, like hand wash it, if it gets like too sweaty or nasty. And that was one aspect that I was thinking about when I bought my headlamp, was I needed something that didn't have that stupid backing that was going to rub off and leave a bunch of black crumblies like hanging off your forehead, and people are like, what's on your forehead? Which is one of the problems I ran into with my old one. So. Princeton Tech Remix, pretty awesome. I highly recommend that you guys go get one if you like it. If you're really worried about all the other stuff I said, check out other models. I think they have models that are better, that have higher dunk resistance or whatever. I mean, if you're going to go and cave dive or whatever, you may invest in like some serious equipment, and maybe not Princeton Tech Remix. But this headlamp for camping and pretty much any other task, fishing at night, whatever, is great. So I highly recommend it. That's really all I have to say about this for now. And let me know if you guys have any more questions about it. I can fill y'all in. And you guys have a good day. Cool. All right. Be safe.